If you're looking for a trusted and reliable source of news and information, check out my friends over at patriotpost.us. A link for them will be in the description box, so when you go over there and subscribe, tell them that ABL sent you. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the quote-unquote mysterious suicide death of wealthy financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. He was found unresponsive in his jail cell. He was rushed to the hospital with, I think, cardiac arrest, and he was pronounced dead at the hospital. Now, there is a lot to quote-unquote unpack here, as the cool kids would say. So I'm going to back up a little bit here to explain what's going on and give you the proper context for the situation. And I got to tell you why it's a very big story right now, all over the internet and all over the mainstream media. Now, like I said, Jeffrey Epstein, wealthy financier, had been known in a lot of these very prominent circles of high-powered people. You're talking about prime ministers, presidents, scientists with MIT, all kinds of people. He had been rumored, and now we know there are some substantiated facts behind this. He had been rumored for a long time to be engaging in large-scale sex trafficking of underage girls. Okay, he has a private island, or had a private island by the Florida Keys. He would fly his plane called the Lolita Express and take a lot of these wealthy people to that island for the purposes of having sex with underage girls, maybe even underage boys. I'm not really sure, but I'll move on. Now, this has been known for a long time. They try to link him to Donald Trump, but Trump himself kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago in Florida because Epstein tried to come on to an underage girl there. So he kicked him out. People have been knowing about what Jeffrey Epstein does. The issue was with trying to get him convicted. There was a conviction in Florida, I think in 2007, 2008. But the issue is that it was only like a year and it was part-time, almost like weekend jail. It did make him a convicted sex offender, but it didn't really give him the time in jail that he actually deserved. So many years later, you have more evidence coming up, people testifying. There's a lot of information about him out there. So now the federals are involved, and he was in the Manhattan Correctional Center awaiting federal sex crime charges, and he was probably going to get convicted. I think before he was allowed bail and he was allowed to be at home even after he was convicted. He tried to come up with like $70 million for a bail package and was denied. So logically thinking, I'm pretty sure that he was not going to be able to come home at all, but we'll move on. At the end of July, about 2 weeks ago from today, he was found in his jail cell in a fetal position, unresponsive, injured. So it was classified as a suicide attempt. Now, after that particular point in time, he was put on suicide watch. So 2 weeks later, he's dead. How do you wind up dead after you've been on suicide watch for 2 weeks in MCC, a federal detention center, and you're being watched? There's cameras everywhere. How does that actually happen? Also, when you're on suicide watch, the means of suicide are taken away. You're given this heavy garment that you can't tie into a noose. There's nowhere to really hang yourself from, and you're being watched. So how does that happen? Well, it looks like there's a few different ways you can go about explaining what happened. Now, this is just my opinion, so don't nobody say, oh, you're spreading fake news, ABL. This ain't really what happened. This is just my opinion about what happened. The facts are that he's dead. The facts are that they're saying it was suicide. That's the facts. Now let's get into what I think most likely happened. And there's plenty of evidence to back up what I'm saying as far as my opinion is concerned. First thing, the Clintons. This is the obvious place to go to because it ain't just something that's been popping up in the past couple of years about Hillary, the whole lock her up thing from Donald Trump. It ain't about that. There have been over 100 people tied or connected to the Clintons in any kind of way, loosely or strongly, that have been suicided or died by mysterious means over the past, 30 years? I think the number is like 117, 118. If you know the exact number, please let me know in the comments below. But there's plenty of examples. You had the DNC staffer, Seth Rich. okay, John Ash. There were 12 people that saw Anthony Weiner's laptop. 9 of them are dead right now. If I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments below. Plenty of Bill and Hillary's bodyguards have died. How are they still living but some of the bodyguards are dead? What's going on with that? There are lots of deaths. There's websites about this, and I'll place them in the description box below. They call it arkancide. It's actually in the Urban Dictionary, and what it means is when somebody dies that is an enemy of the state of Arkansas, because this goes all the way back to Governor Bill Clinton in Arkansas. I was reading on Twitter, somebody did a PowerPoint presentation about this when they were in college in 1995. So this ain't nothing new about anyone that has information about the Clintons that could be damaging, or if they come against them publicly, winding up dead from mysterious circumstances. Okay. Now, some may ask, well, what did Jeffrey Epstein have on the Clintons? Well, I'm glad you asked. Bill Clinton had been on the Lolita Express like over 30 times or right around that. So what are you doing on that plane, sir? Right after Epstein got arrested and put into MCC in Manhattan, Bill released a statement talking about, I never been to the private island. I'm not engaged in any of the fraudulent stuff. So right away, he knew that there would be connection made between Jeffrey Epstein and him. And mysteriously, all of a sudden, he's dead after being on suicide watch in the federal detention center. So you tell me, is that a coincidence or no? All right. Now, the issue here with Jeffrey Epstein is that Bill Clinton and really the real killer, Hillary Clinton, are not the only ones he had to worry about. There's an article, and I'll link to it in the box below. I'm going to read from right here. There are plenty of individuals that were on the Lolita Express that may be damaged very badly if Epstein was to go snitch. Because, look, if you're trying to offer like $70 million and you get denied for a bail package, if the people come to you and say, look, all right, we know you want to get out of jail, we know you want to go home, but we got these unsealed documents. And by the way, there were some unsealed documents released like yesterday, not even 24 hours ago. Okay. And here he is dead today, but we'll move on. Look at these unsealed documents. You got all kind of names and everything else. If you are willing to participate in helping get these guys locked up, if you want to cooperate with us, we'll get you out of here, or we'll get you a reduced sentence. People that were in those documents don't want to risk that, in my humble opinion. You ain't talking about just regular everyday Joes. You're talking about leaders of nations and everything else. Let's look at this list right here. New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, Britain's Prince Andrew. You're talking about the Queen of England's son. Okay. Like, this is not a game that we're talking about here. You're talking about royalty, like the highest people in the whole world, the people that really run the show. Who else? Wealthy financier Glenn Dubin, former Senator George Mitchell, MIT, well, he's dead now, but MIT scientist Marvin Minsky, modeling agent Jean-Luc Brunel, another prince, another foreign president, a well-known prime minister. So you're talking about leaders of nations, people that actually make the world tick. So yes, the Clintons have a definite track record of alleged, wrongful death and suicide that's kind of creepy around them. That's well known. But there's also many other people that are so high up, it just is impossible to let him live. I'm surprised he's been allowed to survive this long, quite honestly. Okay. Now, like I said, that's my opinion. It's possible they just killed himself because he didn't want to be in jail. That's possible. But then again, he may have killed himself because he knows that if he does not kill himself right now and all these names come out and people are getting a little nervous talking about he might testify, he'll get killed in a way that is against his will. He won't be able to determine his fate after a while. So I think that's why he's dead right now. He is known way too much over the years, too many people that are too high in the world. He could have even been killed by somebody at the jail. I want to see the footage. I'm sure there's cameras. If you're on 24/7 suicide watch, there's got to be cameras. I want to see that footage. If they don't release it, or they say something like, oh, well, the footage was corrupted or damaged, you know what's going on with that. They're trying to hide it. So while I don't know exactly how he killed himself, quote unquote, killed himself, I think we can all draw some conclusions based upon things we have seen before. I mean, the first place you start as I close would be the Clintons. 117 plus deaths in 30 something years that go all the way back to Arkansas. Okay. And the people I mentioned are not even everybody that's in there. There's plenty more. Kevin Spacey went to the island. A lot of people have gone to the island. A lot of people have known Jeffrey Epstein that are good friends with him. A lot of other individuals in very high spaces do the exact same thing Jeffrey Epstein does. I think Jeffrey Epstein got caught up because he was more high profile than the rest of these guys. A lot of other people you see on that list you would never know about. They don't go to parties, nothing like that. They do their dirt on the low and want to have you, the person on the outside looking in, none the wiser. So that's pretty much all I got. What say you? Do you think that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, or do you think somebody killed him? Was it suicide, or was he suicided? Was he Arkancided? Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.